Do you think I would make a good cult leader?
Yeah. And I was like, has this motherfucker been walking around with 2 testicles my whole life? And I didn't know?
I have attached earlobes, right?
But they would make jokes where my dad would be like, hey, Oscar. And I'd be like, huh? And he'd be like, what happened to your ears? And then I'd be like, my mommy stole them. Cause What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Hits Podcast. My name is Oscar. This is my sister, Sophia. This is our podcast. It's called the Hits Podcast, HTS, no I. Why the fuck are you just carrying salt? But that's something Sophia does, by the way. She'll just eat fruit, and instead of cutting it up and putting a little bit of salt over it, she like holds the salt shaker and has it in fucking bite by bite. Is eating, like, you know what I mean? Step by step to diabetes. Anyways, I'm just kidding.
It's not even sweet.
Well, bad health is generally. Anyways, she does that shit with tajin and other fruits too, where she'll stab the watermelon on the fork and then she'll get the tajin and like, especially tajin. Tajin, she eats like watermelon with her tajin. It's ridiculous.
A little watermelon with my tajin, yeah.
Anyways,
Oscar,
what?
do you think I would make a good cult leader?
Yeah.
Everyone I've asked keeps saying yes.
You know why?
Why?
Because you're the leader. Because I'm like, this is literally what went through my head. You're like, do you think I would make a good cult leader? And then I was like, yeah, there are people out there stupid enough to follow Sophia in a cult. But then I was like, but Sophia, and I was like, and Sophia's stupid enough to believe a bunch of stupid shit that the stupid people are following her for. But Sophia's smart enough to like keep it under control and keep it like in her reins. You know what I mean? Like you're smart enough. You're just smarter than, just enough smarter than the dummies to be the leader. But you're like, because inherently, if you say, do you think I'd be a good cult leader? To me, you have to be a genuine subscriber to the ideology. Like, you have to believe the shit that the cult believes.
I disagree.
You think that you could be a phony, like a fraud, like you just say a bunch of shit just to see if people can follow you.
I think that's more so the
type that you would be, and I think you could be that type. But I think you also could be the type that believes it. But then Sophia is evil and conniving enough to like not like she'll. Even if she was on to something and she was kind of thinking, okay, you put a lot of salt on that, bro. I saw it fall out. Like, you need to chill. Anyways.
Half of it got on my pants. It's fine.
I'm like, Sophia's dumb enough to believe some culty type shit. But then I was like, but she's evil enough to just make that shit up too. Just to like have a fucking legion of people. You know what I mean? Just devotion. Like,
because listen, I was talking to my friend.
This is your topic?
Yeah. Because listen, it's great.
We're gonna title the video "She's Starting a Cult."
Anyways, I was talking to my friend, and we were just talking about cults, right? And we were like, "That shit's crazy. Like, do you think you would ever like fall for one?" And I was like, "Me personally, no. Like, I feel like I'm too smart for that. Like, I feel like literally every single thing in my life has to like go wrong, you know, and like perfect for the cult." Mm-hmm. For me to fall for it, you know? Like, I feel like I would question everything. Like, the rituals they have, I'm like, why are you wearing a dress like that? That's so ugly. Like, why are you doing that? You know what I mean? I feel like, I don't want to fucking wear that, you know? And, like, I just would question everything. Like, I wouldn't believe it. And then my friend went, you would be a great cult leader. And I was like, bitch, what the fuck? I'm like, she said it so much like, yeah.
Like...
And I was like, why? And she's like, cause like you're like a good person. You know what I mean? So like people would like want to follow you, but like you were saying, you'd be like so like cryptic and pessimistic and pessimistic about like that, to where if they had questions on like, why are you doing that? Why do we have to wear this dress? Why do we have to that? You would already know the answers because you would have already thought about it. And I was just like,
crazy.
I was like, I can't tell if this is a compliment or not. Like, because she said it like a compliment, but if you think about it, I'm like, I don't think that's a compliment. Like, I don't know.
Nah, it's more
I don't know how I feel about this.
I think if you take it on a fundamental level, what she's talking about is more just your influence and like your conviction. Not that you have like bad intentions. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think you have bad intentions, but I think what she was saying was that you have like a conviction.
Yeah, but anyways, point is, I also asked mom, and I also asked our sister, and they both said yes, I would be a good cult leader. Like if I could become a cult leader, they were like, yeah, I can see that.
That's so funny.
And I was like, I don't know how to feel about this. Like, I was like, I think not thanks, but maybe thanks. Anyways.
Oh well.
Oscar wants to start that. Hold on, no. Oscar wants to start this YouTube video where he just learns how to do everything.
YouTube
and
series.
I think one of them, yeah, and I think one of them should be how to start a cult, and I can help you.
I think that would get demonetized. Anyways, that would be such a funny That would be a funny video because we would do it in like a complete bullshit sort of like
satire.
Let's just say a bunch of stuff. And let's just
go up to
if
random
we
people.
can get people to follow it. But then it'll probably get demonetized. It'll probably get taken down. But like a social experiment of just like...
Maybe it won't get demonetized if you say it's a social experiment.
Nah, because then people are going to figure it out. I was going to say, or it could just be some Andrew Tate type shit where it's like you just say a bunch of shit and then just kind of grow your audience. And it's like not necessarily in one video, but it's just the proof of, look, I did this. I said these things. I created this brand. I have this many followers. I have a cult. You know what I mean? But anyways.
Do you think fandoms are like cults?
Yeah, kind of. Depending. Well, that's why. Like,
on what fandom?
It depends on the fandom and it depends on the person, which is why people have cult-like followings. Or that's why that's a thing, cult-like followings. But oftentimes those people are very opinionated. They're very like, not only very opinionated, but they share those opinions and they have a lot of views and they talk a lot about lifestyle and this and that and whatever, and that's where people kind of subscribe to all of it.
I feel like if I were to start a cult, I would want to have a good cult, you know,
like a positive, like happy cult.
Yeah,
like a let's all be nice to each other cult.
Yeah, like I wouldn't want to be like.
You would be bad at that. You wouldn't be good at leading that type of cult.
I wouldn't want to be like once a year we sacrifice 5 children. Like I don't want to do that. That's sad, you know.
You'd be like once a year we gift 5 kids balloons or some shit, or what?
I haven't worked that part out yet, but
what a boring cult.
I'll get back to you. No. I'll do some ridiculous shit. Like, I'll be like, whoever can find the biggest mushroom in the woods will have good luck for the rest of the year.
Eat it.
And not eat it, yeah.
I want it, based off of this so far, I want to title this video, She's Starting a Cult. But I don't know if that's going to get demonetized. No, not demonetized. We're not even monetized. I just don't know if it's going to be problematic. Anyways, speaking of Sophia being a fucking weirdo, you know what I found out?
Oh, I thought you were going to say, speaking of Sophia being a cult leader. No. I was like, what else has to do with that?
You know what I found out?
Anyways.
You know how we talked a little while ago about Coraline?
Coraline. Yeah, what
and you
about
know
her?
How I was saying that you and Celeste are fucking weirdo freaks, and you guys turned me into a weirdo freak? Because Celeste and Sophia love Coraline, and they love The Nightmare Before Christmas, and they love Corpse Bride, and they love like all of these like Tim Burton-y like fucking ass movies. And how people were talking about like, I don't understand how Coraline was a kid's movie. That shit was terrifying. I fucking had nightmares about. You know what other movie I found out was terrifying for a lot of people, but our family fucking loved it because we were fucking weirdos?
Hold on. Let me guess. Hold on. Can you give me, like, nudge me in a direction? Like,
we're already in the direction, bro. Like,
oh, hold on. Coraline. I'm trying to think of what movies we saw. Were people scared of Cat in the Hat or what?
Animated.
Oh, animated.
That's
not
the only hint I'll give you.
And if you are scared of Ponyo, you're kind of a bitch.
Not kind of. Very. And if you like Ponyo, you're an asshole.
But you smell like roses. You're a booty hole that smells like roses.
Shut the fuck up. Guess the movie. Hurry up.
Is it what? I think I know what it is, but I don't want to say it. No, I don't want to say it.
Say it, you stupid ass. You're just wasting time now.
Is it this one?
No. Don't be scared of that shit.
It's not The Nightmare Before Christmas?
No.
Okay, cool. Oh, then I have no fucking idea.
9.
Oh, I love 9.
Right? That 9 is so fucking sick. I saw some shit where like they had put I don't remember what the fuck it was that I saw actually. It was a video about like 9. I don't know what the fuck it was. I think it was like a little post about movies that like didn't necessarily do well in the box office, but they were like really good movies. And then 9 was one of them. And then Look, this is the comment. I screenshotted the comment. Where is it? Yeah.
Maybe.
It was about movies that didn't do well in the box office but are really good movies, like The Iron Giant, Treasure Planet,
Oh, I
9,
like
and
Iron
then
Giant.
another one I don't remember. Fucking someone commented they were like 9 was the scariest movie I've ever watched as a kid. Went with my family to watch, and they also left wondering how it got its rating. And then someone else was like, "On God, I had nightmares for like a week after watching." And then someone else was like, "It's scary, but it totally deserved to have a good rating. This movie is peak in a lot of points." Honestly, I think these are just bitch made people. Like,
That's what I was gonna say.
these are the
I was
type of
like, I
people
don't
that
think
call
it's
Halloween
scary.
satanic. You know what I mean? Like, y'all just bitches. You know what I mean? No. But then I started thinking about it a little bit, and I'm like, I don't know, bro. Like, it's the little dolls, and there's all the monsters that are trying to eat them the whole time. And then there's like the snaky bitch that like fucking hypnotizes everyone. That bitch is creepy as fuck. And then it's the big giant monster machine.
Yeah, but for you being terrified for it, for like I get like maybe
It's
your heart
Sophia.
races
They're
a
like, they
little, but
snatches
like
them up, and then he looks at them, and then they're fucking like fucking some
yeah,
Dementor
but they're
shit.
just
And then the
dolls.
motherfucker starts like chasing after them and all this shit, and the fucking bird and all that. The movie's badass. I fucking love it. But
It's cool.
I started thinking about it, and I'm like, it's not like the fucking monsters are all cuddly and kind. You know what I mean? Like, and it does have
Nah.
like some thriller, like suspense ish moments. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I still
I don't
think
know.
you're a bitch if you were scared of that
I
movie.
wasn't scared. I wasn't scared of 9 or
Bruce.
Coraline.
But I think it's just like another.
Are you just trying to call me a freak?
Yeah, another like just another thing that shows like you guys are fucking weirdos. You made me a weirdo.
Whatever. You made yourself a weirdo. You're older than me. You can't blame this shit on me.
Yeah,
Anyways.
yeah, I can, because
Nuh-uh,
it's Celeste's fault ultimately. Because Celeste is a fucking weirdo that likes all the shit. But you were like you were very younger brother, like in being a younger sister, where you wanted to do everything Celeste was doing and you wanted to be like Celeste. So then by then, if Celeste wanted to go see a movie or if Celeste was into this shit, you were into that shit and you wanted to go do that shit. And at that point, I'm outvoted. 2 of the 3 kids want to see the movie. I'm going to see the fucking movie. Like, mom's not going to not take me, and she's not going to take me to see the movie that I want to see if you guys don't want to see it. Now, I'm not saying that I didn't want to see these movies because I do enjoy them.
Exactly.
But it's that type of shit where, like, it did, even if I wanted to see something else, like, that shit was happening. You know what I mean?
No, I think you're just being a bitch.
Nah, I like the movie. What do you mean? I'm not a bitch.
I'm just kidding.
Anyways. Oh, so this is what I was gonna tell Sophia earlier. We were on the phone for like 2 hours before we started recording today.
Nuh-uh. I don't even talk to him outside of this.
So then this is what I was gonna tell Sophia. We were talking about girls dating guys that are ugly and the girl's like way too pretty for them. And then we're like, yeah, this, yeah, that, whatever. And then I was saying, I was like, nah. My girlfriend, if I start dating someone, I want her to be too pretty for me. Are you kidding? Like, that's a win, like, for sure. You know what I mean? And then this is what I was gonna tell Sophia. We have family in San Antonio, and every now and then we'll go visit. And usually my family, most of the time, we're the type to like, we stay with the family that we're visiting. Like, if we visit my aunt, we stay in my aunt's house. Like, we don't get like a hotel, right? And I always like that. I always like it, and people don't like it because like some people don't like it because they're like, nah, then you guys sleep on the couch, and then like you got to share showers, and you don't have your own space, and this and that. And I'm like, I'm here to visit these people. Like, what the fuck do I want my own space for? And I'm cool sleeping on the couch, like whatever. It's only like 2 days, anyways. So we were visiting, and me and my cousin. So we have 3 cousins. There's 3 boys that were like around our age, mine and Sophia's age, and my other cousin that I used to live with, his age. So the 6 of us, like, we're all really close in age. And so we were like all hanging out and this and that. And so then the sleeping arrangements, the way it worked is like these people would sleep on the air mattress. This person would sleep over there with that person. These 2 would share a bed, whatever. In my adulthood, between like 18 and older, I always ended up sharing a bed with the youngest of the 3 brothers because the 2 older ones are fucking giants. And the youngest was like a regular sized person at that time. I don't want to say I don't think I'll say his name. But anyways, that motherfucker. Well, this is what I was going to tell you when we were on the phone.
Yeah.
That motherfucker is such a good host. It's so fucking funny. And I think I've told you this before, but I want to tell the audience.
He wants to tell the world.
It's so funny because like we're there and like we visit and we're there and like hanging out and everything. And then like it's like the first day we get there or whatever, and we're all getting ready to go to bed. And then there was one time, one of the more recent times that we visited, we were there, and it was right when the Queen's Gambit came out. So
Mm-hmm.
it was like 2020 already, or like no 2021. And so then we were there, and we were like just there, almost like kind of having like a sleepover because he was on this side and I was on that side. And we were just chilling and we are just watching the Queen's Gambit and shit. And then we were talking about whatever, and this is why it reminded me. We were talking about because he had a girlfriend or something, and then I was just like, she's cool or this or that, and he's like, yeah, I met her at work and blah blah and this and that and whatever, whatever. And then
Mm-hmm.
eventually we started talking about guys dating girls, like guys being too ugly for their girlfriends or girls being taller than the guys. And then it had been a topic that I had mentioned to someone recently, and then I mentioned to him, I was like, yo, if I was dating a girl that was taller than me, would you clown me like I'm a loser? And he was like, fuck no. And I was like, that's a win, right? And he was like, I would be proud of you.
You
And
haven't
I
told
was
me
like,
this actually.
right? Like, I don't understand how you clown a guy for dating a girl that's taller than him. You know how fucking hard it is to get a girl to date you if you're shorter than her?
Shorter.
Like, you know how fucking impressive you have to be in every other realm? You know what I mean? Especially if she's
Yeah.
good looking. Like, name
Yeah.
one girl you know that would date a guy or has dated a guy that's shorter than her. Fucking no one. Anyways,
Yeah, I
so
can't think of anyone.
exactly. It was so funny to me. I was like, is that not a win? Like, and he was like, I would be proud of you. But he said it
That's
like
so funny.
in
He's
all
like, I meant
serious.
that shit.
He's like, I would
Yeah.
be proud of you. And I was like, exactly, right? That's so funny. So then anyway, that's what I was gonna tell you when we were talking about guys being ugly, right? But then that just reminded me in general, that motherfucker, we fell asleep, right? Whatever. And then I wake up in the morning and I look over at the nightstand, and there's a fucking, what are they called?
Bunnies.
Sunny D. That one. There was a fucking Sunny D on the nightstand, and I was like, where did that come from? Because it wasn't there. Because it's the type of shit where like I'll leave my phone on the nightstand, or I'll put my glasses on the nightstand, and I wake up in the morning, I can't see shit, so I put my glasses on, and there's a Sunny D there, and then I was like, what? And I was like, where's that? And then there was a bunch of little candy there. There was like 3 or 4 candies, and I was like, what the fuck? And then he had already gotten up, and he came back into the room, and I was like, yo, what's up with this? And he was like, oh, I just put it there because I didn't know if you were thirsty or anything. And I was like, thank you, I am. And I fucking drank it. But like, it's because you guys, I need to explain it properly. Because I was like, this is my cousin, right? And so I was, well, how fucking old was I? I was like 21, but he was
I
like,
think it.
but he was like 17. And he was
Mm-hmm.
like the youngest in the family for a long time. And then they had a younger sister, but she's like 10 years younger than him, or like 5, 6 years younger than him. And so like it was so funny because I think it was non-typical in the like the oldest sibling is usually the most mature and the most like catering and the most this and the most that. But like he was the youngest and he's not very talkative. But then I've told people, I'm like, no, if you talk to him, he'll talk to you. Like he's not going around looking to start conversations with everybody, but he's not quiet and like reserved. And so like it was just there, and he was like, yeah, I brought that, like, just I just thought you might be thirsty. And I was like, I am thirsty. And I drank that shit, and it was like this big because they were all fairly young, and like his sister was still like 10 or like 8. And I'm like, I don't give a fuck if this is hers. Right? And then the candy and shit, and I was like, in the candy, and it was like, I thought you might want a snack. You're like not amused by this story.
Because you don't remember the next part, but I'll gladly remind you.
What?
Listen.
What happens after that?
Listen, okay? So it was the 3 brothers, right? The other 2 were in their rooms. We didn't see them that night. Like when we got there, they were already asleep because we got there at night.
Yeah.
And then it was him and then an air mattress. And I don't remember where our parents slept, but they slept somewhere else. But Arthea was like, hey, you person, go show them where they're staying, right? And he was like, all right, Oscar, you're with me. Sophia, here, it's an air mattress for you. And I remember I fall asleep like everywhere, right?
Yeah.
So I was asleep on the drive there. So I was like fucking half asleep. And I lay down on the air mattress and then I fall asleep, right? Are you remembering?
No, but I'm guessing.
And then we wake up and we all go like downstairs for breakfast and Oscar is raving. on how good our cousin is as a host. And he's like,
I was telling everybody. Hold on that trip, I was telling everybody. I was like, I woke up and there was Sunny D right there waiting for me, and fucking Candy. And here's the thing: the night before, when like I was already laying down chilling, and he was still like getting ready for bed, and then he went downstairs, and then he came back up with like a sandwich or some shit, and I was like, "Yo, what's that?" And he was like, "Oh, it's a whatever sandwich, like a peanut butter jelly or some shit." And I was like, "Oh, that's cool." And he's like, "You want one?" And I was like, I mean, if you're offering. And then he went and made me a fucking peanut butter jelly sandwich, and he brought it up. That shit was delicious. And then the next morning, I woke up with the Sunny D and everything. And
he was like, telling everyone.
Nice. I was telling everyone. I was like, he's such a good host.
What I woke up to? No Sunny D's, no candy, and no fucking blanket. I had fallen asleep because I was tired. And here Oscar is getting fucking princess treatment, and I didn't even get a blanket.
Why the fuck did you fall asleep? Like,
I was tired, and then I woke up in the middle of the night, because I was cold, but I didn't want to wake anybody up, and so I would just like
you just shivered yourself back to sleep.
And so I'm like, dang, that sucks. Oh well. Because at the time, I wasn't mad at him specifically. I was just mad. I was like, I didn't get a fucking blanket. You know what I mean? And then Oscar comes waltzing downstairs looking like fucking someone shoved the sun up his ass or something. And he's all happy. And he's like, such a good host. I got Sunny D's and candy. And I was like, this motherfucker. And I remember being so fucking pissed. Because I was cranky because I didn't sleep well because I didn't have a blanket. And I didn't want to wake anyone up to be like, hey, can I have a blanket, please? Oh, yeah, our cousin's such a great host. He did this, he did that. And I was like, this motherfucker saw me laying there without a blanket and was like, she's fine.
No, he didn't. Cause in the morning, probably. Nah, in the morning, he honestly, he probably was like, damn, she didn't want a blanket? Weirdo. And then just... But here's the other thing. We shared
No, because I talked to him. No.
Hold on. Let me tell you. Hold on.
I'm not done.
You're gonna go ahead. You're gonna say what you're gonna say, but let me say this first. We shared a bed, but we were also in his room. So the thing is, in my head, I'm like, he was in charge of the hospitality of his room. You were like, you were on the air mattress. You were on the mattress. You were on the mattress in the loft,
right outside his.
That's his mother's.
Literally right outside his room,
which is also outside his other two brothers' room. And outside of his sister's room.
Who was like 5.
So then it's that type of shit where it was like, you were in his mom's jurisdiction. Like, you're her responsibility to cater and take care of. I think that's kind of how he saw it. You know what I mean?
Anyways, no. He didn't he noticed before that morning. Because I remember, I was like, oh yeah, I was cold all night. Because I didn't have a blanket. And Arthea was like, you didn't have a blanket? So-and-so. Why didn't you give her a blanket? And he was like, she fell asleep without one. And he kind of went like that.
You thought you didn't want one. You thought you didn't need
one.
Who
doesn't want a blanket when they go to sleep?
Who the fuck goes to sleep without getting a blanket?
People who are tired.
That's stupid. No, that's so stupid. You can't be so tired that you don't care about a blanket.
No, because I looked around. No, because I wasn't even fully awake when we got there. And I had laid down. But I woke up because I was cold. And I looked around because I thought, in my head, I was like, there's probably one, I just didn't, you know what I mean? But no, there wasn't a blanket anywhere. Anyways, point is,
I think it's your fault. Point is,
no Sunny D's.
I can't.
No candy.
Point is,
no blanket.
No good points.
Anyways,
what else was I gonna say? Oh, you know what else? I thought of, because we were talking about this.
I don't care.
Before the podcast too. So we're not gonna say his name, Sophia.
I'm gonna say it.
I have another cousin. I have a lot of cousins. I have another cousin, and when we were growing up, I don't know how the fuck this ever came to be a topic, but when we were growing up, we were always told because I have a not my main cousin, but my cousin Josh, and he's Sophia's age, so he's
I thought
really
you said
close.
We weren't saying names.
I'm not saying the name of the motherfucker I'm actually talking about.
Oh,
shut up. I have my cousin Josh that I used to live with that I've talked about before. He's Sophia's age. He and I grew up super, super close. Sophia, and his younger sister grew up super, super close. But he and I particularly grew up super close. So we were young, right? We were kids. And then we had other cousins that were like 10, 12, 9 years older than us, right? But they were fairly young at the time too, like early 20s, late teens. And so then in time, there were times where it would come up in conversation somehow where they would tell my dad and my uncles and shit, they would tell me and Josh that one of our older cousins only had one testicle. And we were like,
Tony.
Tony's not his name. What the fuck? Anyways.
I know, but I'm being stupid because you're like,
shut up.
Don't say his
shut
name.
up.
So
shut up. You're fucking shut up. This is such a stupid thing to say. It was a waste of time. Anyways.
Don't be mean to Tony.
They tell me and Josh. I have an actual former friend named Tony. He's going to think we're talking about him. Shut up. Or he could come around and say we're talking about him.
Honestly, well, does Tony only have...
It doesn't matter.
Anyways.
Stop saying fucking Tony. You stupid ass.
I was looking at your license plate and I saw Stark and I was like, Tony Stark. And that's how I came up with the name.
Thank you for that useful detour. Me and Josh would be told by our like uncles and just older family members that one of our older cousins only had one testicle, right? And we were like, nah, no way.
Nah.
And they were like, yeah, for real. And we were like, why? And then when you're real young, Mexicans are crazy. So they're like, he wouldn't behave. So we cut that motherfucker off. Right? Like stupid shit like that.
Bitch.
Stupid shit like that. And we were like, nah. And they were like, yeah.
Like, actually?
And then we got a little older and they were like, yeah, he only has one testicle. And we were like, but like how? And they were like, nah, for real. It was like a medical thing where like I think one of them never dropped or some shit.
It didn't. It got stuck in the inguinal canal.
But then it shifted to where it popped up on his like lower abdomen, like below his belly button, and it started like sticking out and it got like a hernia and shit. So then they had to go get it like medically removed. And so then he only had one. So then it only had one, right? And we were like, whoa, for real? And they were like, yeah. But we never mentioned it directly to my cousin. I never brought it up to him. I never asked him about it. But it was always the thing. Like, he only has one. He only has one. You're only going to have one. Like, fuck. I said his name. It was always
You're only going to have one.
You're only going to have one. Or it's like, don't do that. Or you're only going to have one. Or like, don't fucking do this shit. Or you're only going to have one. Like, so-and-so. And then like, it was just kind of a thing for the longest time, right? And then whatever. That was like 15 years ago. Recently, in the last like 3 or 4 years, that shit like, I remembered that was a thing because it was so regular and it was so like nonchalant that like it like I don't like every time I see him and I talk to him, I don't think this guy only has one testicle. You know what I mean? Like it's just whatever. And so then a few years ago, I started thinking, or like it came up in conversation again, and then I started thinking to myself, I was like, were these motherfuckers lying? And I was like, because that's totally something that I would lie to a kid about just to fucking freak him out. And the cousin who supposedly had one, he is totally the type to let them lie about it just to freak the kids out. And just like whatever. He doesn't care if people actually believe that. You know what I mean?
He only has one. Yeah.
And then I was like, yeah, because like you hear all sorts of bullshit. I don't know what girls say about girls, but guys say all sorts of bullshit about
They say you only have one titty.
Just kidding. People say all sorts of bullshit about growing up and your hormones and puberty and this and that. Like guys, this is a not urban legend, but this is a thing that guys say that they tell young men to scare them. That fucking what word can I use that doesn't get taken down by YouTube? I'll just bleep it. That fucking makes hair grow on your palm.
What?
That's like a you didn't know that was a thing? No. Guys say that shit to each other. Like, and that's the type of shit that you tell 11, 12-year-old boys where it's like, hey, if you fucking do that shit, you're going to grow hair on your palm just to fucking freak them out and just to like fucking send them spiraling, right?
No,
or
we don't have any fun stuff like that. I feel like we don't
have any fun stuff like that.
No, I feel like at worst, it's like they didn't explain to you what a period was in time, and then you get your period, and then you think you're dying. But like,
mom thought she had cancer.
Yeah, she was like, oh, and then her older sisters, because she has older sisters,
they figured it out.
She was like, yeah, because she was in there for like an hour just crying, and then her older sister was like, here, and then she like threw a pad at her, and then she's like, put it on your underwear, you're fine. And then mom was like, But anyways,
That's
so
such
I
a
feel like
funny
that's the
story.
only thing. It's not
No,
stuff
but
where
there
they
aren't
tell
like
you
legends and like myths and fucking
no.
yeah. So like that's and the thing is like they'll tell you that shit when you're like 13, 14. They're like, yeah, doing that shit grows hair. It makes your palm. It makes hair grow on your palm. And then the stupid guy will do this shit, and then they'll be like, so you use that hand, huh? Like it's that type of bullshit
Stupid.
where it's like,
yeah.
And
like,
so then,
is there hair?
and
That's
so
so
then
funny.
when I was in my early 20s, I was like, that totally sounds like just one of those things that they would say, like just make that shit up. And as kids, we were too fucking stupid
Yeah.
to know.
To realize it, yeah.
And we just believed it. And I was like, has this motherfucker been walking around with 2 testicles my whole life? And I didn't know? I've
Did
just
you
been
ask him?
believing that shit? No, I didn't ask him.
So he still could be,
But
potentially.
But his niece, who's the mom of our little cousin that we've talked about before, and I'm only saying that so Sophia can figure out who I'm talking about. Because if I just said his niece, she would be like,
yeah, I wouldn't have gotten
Yeah, I
it.
know. Anyways, one time we were at the house and then it came up again, and I was like, yo, is that shit true? That he only has one? And she was like, yeah. And then we asked my aunt, Josh's mom, and I was like, hey, yo, is that shit true?
Is that true?
That he only has one? And she was like, yeah. And I was like, for real? And she was like, yes. And I was like, oh, okay. And they were like, you know that? And I was like, yeah, but it just recently occurred to me that you might have been lying this whole time. and then I brought it up to Big O. And I was like, yo, is that shit true?
Is that true?
And he was like, what the fuck are you talking about? And I was like, is it true that he only has one? And he was like, yes, what the fuck do you mean is it true? You've known this. He's like, you've known this since you were like 8 years old. Like, and I was like, it just recently occurred to me that you might be fucking lying. And that you guys might have all just lied to us just to fuck with us.
And we would have believed it,
and just to scare us. And then he was like, no, you fucking idiot. And I was like, you're telling me that doesn't sound like something you would tell kids to fucking freak them out? Like, my dad used to tell me he was going to give me earlobes if I didn't behave. Like, you know what I mean?
That's so funny.
That's another story nobody knows.
Earlobes.
So I have attached earlobes, right? And like, Sophia, show them yours. Everybody else,
detached earlobes.
Everybody else in my family has detached, right? That floppy shit. Here's the thing. I have attached. The only people that have attached earlobes are me and my mom. My 2 sisters don't have them. My dad doesn't have them. Most of my cousins don't have them, right? And so my dad, my whole life when I was a kid, like, you know how you get certain things from your parents? Like, I don't look like I always looked more like my dad than my mom, especially when I was like 17, 18. Now at 26, I don't look the way he looked at 26. Because also, side note, we found some old pictures of like mom and Big O from when like I was born or Celeste was barely born or some shit. Or no, closer to when I was born. And Big O was like 24, 25. And then I look at the picture and then I look at Josh and I was 24, 25. This was like 2-3 years ago. And I was like, we were still in El Paso. And I was like, yo, is that what I look like? And he was like, no. And I was like, okay. Anyways.
Fucking asshole. That's funny.
And he was like, no.
I look just like my mom.
And Sophia, no, it's fucking creepy how much Sophia looks like my mom. Anyways, especially when they were kids, like pictures of my mom when she was like 9 and pictures of Sophia when she was 9. Oh, it's fucking scary.
I'm her mini-me.
So then, I always looked like my dad in every way, right? And it was very clear. He was Oscar. I was little Oscar, right? But then the only thing that I got from my mom, was my ears. And so he was like, yeah, you got your mom's ears. Or he would, like, my dad would call me no lobe. Like address me as that shit and just like make fun of me for not having lobes. And then, or like when I was really little, when I was like 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 or some shit. I don't know what age I was talking and saying this. But they would make jokes where my dad would be like, hey, Oscar. And I'd be like, huh? And he'd be like, what happened to your ears? And then I'd be like, my mommy stole them. And that was, hold on.
Cute.
My computer's about to die.
He used to be so adorable, guys.
And he'd be like,
now look at him.
It was like a running joke where like he told me to say that. But then he would also tell me that my mom stole my ears and that I didn't have lobes and that this and that. And it was like a thing that
and he was dumb enough to believe
that was like the genetic trait that like tied me to her in like an undeniable way, you know, other than being birthed by her. Where it's like, you got your mom's eyes and I can never not see that they're your mom's eyes when I look at your eyes. No lobe, right? It was the same sentiment where I was no lobe. And so then it was like a running joke where he would say it like for family or for friends or whoever, and it's like, and like check it out, and it's like, Oscar, what happened to your ears? My mommy stole them. But that he says that I would say it like, yeah, I don't have ears because she stole them. Like fucking she. Fucking, I want to say, but but like that's how I would say it. Where I was like, so anyways, so then that was the thing, right? And then he would do bullshit where like we'd be chilling there, and he'd be looking at my ears, and then he'd be like, Betty, bring me the pliers. We're gonna give Oscar an earlobe, and just fucking like you know what I mean? Like they were gonna cut my ear to give me a lobe, and I was just like, no, I already have lobes, and he's like, you don't have lobes, and I was like, yes, I do. They're just attached. Because eventually I was old enough to know, and I was just like, why? And here's the thing: my dad is like, he was like very much the type to like never let a joke die, and that's how some of us are now.
I wonder.
So then he would do that shit, and then I would always be like, leave my fucking ears alone. There's nothing wrong with them just because you guys are all floppy ear bitches. Get the fuck away from me. You know what I mean? Like, right? So he would call me no lobe. Where'd your ear? What happened to your ears? My mommy stole them. No lobe, no lobe. Whatever. Why did we start talking about this? Oh, the reason why we introduced it is because I would say that he would always, not always, but sometimes he would be like, I'm gonna fucking give you a lobe. Come here, let me give me the fucking pliers or give me the scissors. We're gonna give Oscar earlobes, right? And just that type of shit where like there's no way you would never do that, but it's the type of shit you say sometimes to kids to terrorize them if they're not behaving or some shit where it's like, cut that shit out or I'm gonna give you earlobes. Something, right? The weird.
He never said he was gonna cut out my earlobes, but he would say that I had a lot. I can't remember exactly. I can't remember how
Sophia
he would
does
say
have
it,
a lot of earlobe, but anyways.
I can't remember exactly how he would say it, but he's like extra. Was it extra lobe? Big lobe? I can't remember, but
I don't know.
The way he was like, you're no lobe, he would say it, but like the opposite to me.
So, anyways, that was just the general topic of like stupid things you say to kids, right?
Yeah.
That reminded me when I was like fucking, I had to be in high school already, like grown, like fairly, and therefore Josh was also fairly grown. One time I was there at the house and I was sitting on the table eating some shit, and Josh was just there, and he was like standing next to me, and then he was just like staring at me, and I was eating, and he was like, "Yo, what's wrong with your ears?" And I was like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" And this is what I'm saying. This was a thing my whole childhood, right? I was no lobe. I was already at least like, I want to say I was like 19. I want to say I was out of high school, honestly. I want to say I was like 19, 20. So he was like 17, 18 at least. And he was like, "What's wrong with your ears?" And I was like, "What do you mean?" And he was like you're fucking like it just goes like that. And I was like, "What do you mean?" And he was like your earlobe, it just goes straight to, like it doesn't like. And I was like, "Yeah, I have attached earlobes." And he was like, "What the fuck?" And I was like, "Josh, you were there when they were calling me no lobe my whole fucking life. And you were there when they would say, we're going to give Oscar earlobes. Give me the fucking scissors." And he was like, "Yeah, I thought we were just bullshitting." And he was like,
I didn't think you actually did.
He's like, "I thought that was just all made up, like bullshit, just shit that they would say." He was like, "I didn't know that like your ear was actually like," and I was like, "Yes, you fucking idiot. What are you talking about? Like,
that's so
what?
Funny.
You're discovering this right now?" And he was like, "Yeah, like it looks fucking weird." And he kept like staring at it. And I was like, "Oh my God, you're fucking dumbass."
Dumb. That's funny.
But anyways.
That's so funny.
I'm not lobe.
You silly goose.
That's so funny. What happened to your ears? My mommy stole them.
My mommy stole them.
Or I don't know. I don't know if he told me to say that or if I came up with that shit. Because that was also hilarious.
It's so weird. The things that like, I'm kind of shifting it a little, but I can't remember what exactly you said that made me think of this. But it's so weird. Like, what people like bully you for when you're kids. You know what I mean?
Like, it's so arbitrary and stupid.
Yeah. Like, I remember when I was in 8th grade, I got a big ol' Yeti, guys. Don't look at them. But they're big.
I didn't understand what you said. And then Yetis. I was like, oh, okay,
yeah.
Go ahead.
And I've had them for a while. Like,
it's my mom's fault.
It's my mom's fault. She's got bigger, older Yeti ears, okay? Anyways, I was like a C cup in 8th grade, right? So I had them. And I remember there was this one girl in my history class who would always just make fun of me for it. And she was like, I bet you stuff them. And like, she's like, I don't think that's real.
Jealous ass bitch.
And at the time, now, yes, but at the time, I was embarrassed because like I was the only one in my class that like, you know what I mean? And I was just like, and I remember oh my god. And I remember at the time, the boys in my class, like every time she would like bring it up to like make fun of me, they would always like stare. And in my head, I was like,
they were like, oh, we're talking about boobs.
No. In my head, I was like, everyone's making fun of me right now. But now I'm like, no, she's the only one making fun of you. They're all just looking at your boobs. Like, which,
yeah,
I don't know if that makes it better or not. But like,
what are you going to do?
You know? But I just remember that. And then, no, yeah. And I remember her, she was just bullying. I think she was just jealous because I remember she sat behind me. And one time she like had scissors and my hair was down. And like I heard her cutting. And she's like, haha. And she like had like a little bit of like hair. And she's like, haha, I cut your hair. And I went like this. And I kid you not, I got pissed. Like, because before she would like say all this shit. And like, I don't think I was very much like, I would get beaten down and like the very typical like,
you wouldn't just take shit from everybody or what? Oh, okay.
No. Hold on. No, like she would say it. I wouldn't say anything back, but I wasn't like, I wasn't defined by it, I guess. Like it wasn't to a point where like everyone was. You know what I mean? It was just like these instances. I didn't say anything, but I also didn't let me fucking like I just moved on. You know what I mean? It was like whatever. But I remember that time I got fucking furious. Like I was like, I'm done with your shit. Like it hit a lid. And I remember I snatched the scissors from her hand, which is pretty dangerous because like I was grabbing the sharp side. Like I grabbed it to where like it was like the scissors. I grabbed it like this and I snatched it out of her hand and then I grabbed her hair and I went to like I was like, I'm gonna fucking cut your hair. Like that's what I was thinking. I didn't actually I didn't say that that's what I'm gonna do.
Sophia was like, Sophia's like, she grabbed the scissors, she grabbed her hair, and she was gonna try and go cut her hair, and then accidentally stab her with the scissors. That's what Sophia was like.
No, but I got the scissors. I grabbed the scissors, and then I grabbed her hair, and I remember because she was wearing braids, so I snatched.
You were like,
I was like, you fucking bitch, and I went to like start cutting it. And then she started to freak the fuck out. She's like, no, it was a joke. It was a joke. No, it was from my hair. It wasn't your hair. And I was like, what do you mean? Like, I was there, like, all fucking with the scissors. Like, what do you mean? And she's like, look at the end of my braid. Look at the end of my braid. And you know how, I don't know if you know this because you're a boy, but usually when you have braids, like, it's like a little tip. Bit like, isn't braided, it looks like a paintbrush.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it looks like a little bit like a paintbrush where it's like and like one of them did look like that, but the other one was just like straight. Flat, like, yeah, but this bitch, she would like fucking like bull. And the thing is,
she would fuck with you, and so you were like, you believe
she would fuck with me, so I believed it. And at the time, I didn't think it was bullying, but now I'm like, oh no, yeah, she would bully you. I just didn't give a shit at the time. You know what I mean? I wasn't like I'm being bullied. I just thought she was an annoying bitch. You know? And so I went like that, and I distinctly remember this because like everyone in our class kind of looked at me like oh, like I didn't know you were like that type of thing, like oh. And then I remember I just like placed the scissors back down, and then I turned around, and she didn't bother me again after that. But yeah,
where the
I think it's because you were talking about how like they were saying we're gonna like cut your earlobes, and I thought like it's so funny the things that like because like as an adult, if someone says like you don't have any lobes, it's not something that like cuts deep or anything, you know what I mean? But like at the time,
okay,
it's just like it's like okay. And then I started thinking about stuff like that. I was like, yeah, like I remember in 8th grade they used to be like, you got big old boobs, and I was like, oh, and now I'm just like, you know what I mean? And then I remembered that bitch, and then I remembered that story.
Oh,
but yeah,
I get it now.
Yeah. My mind works in mysterious ways, except it doesn't. Anyways, I think I was actually a bully. I think we've talked about this. I think I was actually a bully in 2nd grade.
We know that. We've said this, bro. Like,
yeah,
in high school.
But it's okay. No, not in high school. Nah, not in high school. Just in elementary school.
Sophia was a mean girl.
Just to the boys, because they said I was a devil lady, and I was like, I'm not a devil lady, and then I proved them wrong by being a devil lady.
Yeah. Sophia's a bully.
but we were homies afterwards. It's fine. But yeah, maybe that's why I didn't think I was getting bullied. Cause like in my head, I was like,
You're like,
nah,
this ain't
I'm the one who
shit.
does
She's
it.
not even
This
like
ain't
shoving
shit.
my face in the dirt or
It's in
nothing.
the sand, yeah. Maybe. It's like elementary school. Me like rose up when I thought she cut my hair. I was like, I thought I left this life behind, but apparently it's not
Your
done with
face
me. Come
looks
here,
a little
bitch.
dirtless.
Looks a little too clean. Bring the dirt. Like, I don't know. But yeah.
Do you have anything else? Oh, I have one more thing. Do you have anything?
No, but we're at an hour.
Motherfucker, you need to have shit to talk about. I'm just talking
We're
about
at an hour.
Who cares? It's funny. So, apparently, I keep living in apartment complexes with fucking
ghetto ass bitches.
Not gonna say that. I think ghetto is a trigger word. I keep living in apartment complexes with irresponsible tenants. My last apartment, my last apartment, dude, the tenants on my last fucking apartment could not stop breaking the fucking rules. They couldn't stop breaking them. It was fucking annoying. Right? In this apartment, there isn't a whole lot of things, so there aren't necessarily a whole lot of rules. But apparently, dogs keep shitting and pissing in the elevator.
I don't think it's the dogs.
I've been fortunate enough to not run into that personally, but we got an email like a week and a half ago where they were like,
you were there when they peed one time. I remember because
not in this one.
There was pee. Oh no, you were there when there was pee in the elevator because I remember you telling me, and you're like, I think this is fucking piss.
Oh, maybe then. Well, in my last apartment, a dog shit in the elevator, and then I submitted it to management. And I wanted to just post it on the community app talking shit, where I was like, hey, if your dog shits in the elevator, you should probably clean it. And then I was like, if you shit in the elevator, you should probably stop. You know what I mean? But then they didn't approve it. They didn't let me post it because every post has to run through management. And I was like, bitches. And then they emailed everybody and they're like, hey, if your dog shits in the elevator, you should clean it. And then they didn't keep the second half. I was disappointed. Anyways, so like a week and a half ago, this apartment complex emails all of us. And they were like, hey, hey, since you guys clearly have not gotten the hang of not letting your dog shit in the elevator, we're going to officially like tell you guys
make it
you
a
need
rule.
to fucking cut that shit out. Apparently, dogs keep shitting and pissing in the elevator. And they're like, there's piss in this elevator, and we have to get someone to come professionally clean it because it smells like piss. They're like, cut this shit out, bro. Like, we have the cameras. We're going to start fucking hunting you down. If we see that you walk outside with your dog and then we find shit in there later, we're fucking call you out, right?
We're blaming you.
Now, they have like a no poop zone sign in each of the elevators, and I sent them to you. Go look at it. What do you mean? Yeah, you weren't supposed to see them yet. I told you I was going to send you stuff and to not look.
I
already showed you
chat.
That. Oh,
yeah, you dumb bitch. Anyways, it's still funny.
Whatever.
No.
I sent them to Sophia before the call. You guys will see it.
You didn't send us the green one though. That's funny.
I think I showed you guys. I showed you guys on FaceTime yesterday.
Oh yeah.
I didn't send it to the group chat, you liar. They put up little signs in the elevators, like, "Hey,
just in case
don't let your dog shit here." And I'm like, this is so fucking gross. Like,
my cat.
Here's the thing:
has never shat in an elevator.
I'm like, if your dog is shitting in the elevator and you're not cleaning it, you clearly don't give a fuck, or you're not paying attention like a dumbass. If the thing that stops you from allowing your dog to shit in the elevator is the poop sign, there are much bigger problems. Like, I don't understand how you can
honestly
drive a car.
I think they're doing it more. I think they did that more so
for
to
like the public
remind
shame?
them. No. I think they more so did that to kind of remind them that there are going to be consequences now. You know what I mean? Like, if it happens,
I think it's a public shame thing. I think it's like a community shame thing. Because like imagine, let's say I like talk to a girl, right? And she comes,
and then you shit
and she
in the elevator.
Oh, so good. That was so good. You shit in the elevator. Anyways, and say I'm talking to a girl or I have friends or something, and they come over to visit. They come over to visit, to come hang out, and they have to go through the elevator with the "Hey, don't let your dog shit here" sign. That's so embarrassing, and that's so like shameful. Of like, do people have their dog shit in the elevator or what? And it's like, yeah, it's a problem. Someone keeps letting it happen. People keep letting it happen. Apparently, is a common occurrence. And so now it's like a community-wide shameful thing of like where that apartment complex that has so much shit in the elevators that they have to put up signs.
Or your neighbor is the one that's letting their pet shit in the elevator and they have someone over and they're like, hey, do people let through? And they unknowingly shame their friend. Because they're like, who fucking does that? And the friend's like, I don't know. You know?
Shame. Very useful.
Shame. Now all they need is just to ring a bell. Ring. Shame. Ring. Shame.
I don't know.
Ring. Shame. Oh, you need to watch
it's like a Game of Thrones reference. I knew it. I was like, that sounds like some old community shit where like everybody in the town stands in a circle and fucking shames the guy or something. But anyways.
It was like a parade of shame. Shame. Shame.
Shame is so funny to me because like it like doesn't exist. Like it only exists in your mind. Like, for example, I could look at Sophia and I could literally just be like, is that what you're wearing today? And she will completely like fucking start to melt down of like, well, what's wrong with what I'm wearing? Well, like I thought it was nice. Well, like, does this and that? And she'll get like all this fucking like, and my dumbass was literally just asking like, is that what you're wearing? Or like, are you still gonna change? Like, I'm trying to get a timeline. I'm trying to get a timeline in my head.
He goes,
see how she fucking believes that, and I don't mean it that way. This is exactly what I'm talking about.
Because I know you.
Stop
trying to gaslight me.
This instance of shame is entirely, what is it, self-perpetuated in Sophia's mind.
I don't know hard words like that.
I'm not shaming her at all. I'm literally asking, is that what you're wearing? Or if that's not what you're wearing, then I can infer that I still have to wait for you to change. And it's going to be a certain amount of time or this or that or whatever. Sophia completely creates this whole narrative of like, he's bullying me and my shirt doesn't look good with these pants and he's so judgmental and he this and he that. And
he is judgmental.
And it's this whole thing where it was like, it's not real. You know what I mean?
You're a real asshole. That's real.
No, I'm not. Like, but you know what I mean? You get what I get what I'm saying? Like,
I get it. Anyways, that's it for today's episode, guys. Like, comment, and subscribe. Why do you have such a big fucking thing of water?
This is the 4th fucking time I drink out of this episode, and I expected you to say something the first time.
I didn't see, because the way my phone is on the thing, it's like covering half of your face. So if you were drinking it like that way, I couldn't see. But this time I just see like the edge of the fucking, no, the other way. Go the other way. The other way. I can't see it that way, you dummy. Yeah, that one. Why is it so big? Anyways, that's it for today's episode. Like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll see you next time.